One of the best ways to practice working with thread is to make a doily. So I've chosen this doily out of my collection, and it's a Cluny style doily. Cluny lace was made in France and was bobbin lace at first. Then they started making it in factories. There is also a crochet version, and this is an example of that. With Cluny lace you get a lot of geometrical patterns and wheat ears, so this one has plenty of wheat ears. I will be using a number 30 thread and a 0.75mm hook. That is because the stipulation in the pattern seems to suggest that they want tight work. You could make this with any type of thread and just choose a hook that's appropriate to the thread, to the size of the thread, and also make sure that you work relatively tightly. I'll be showing you how to make the ruffle and how to keep it in shape. So to start our doily, we're going to chain 8 and then we're going to join it up in a circle with a slip stitch. So here I make the slip stitch into the first chain, and I'll be working the tail under the work. So now chain 3, make 2 double crochet, but keep the last loop of each double crochet on the hook. So you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Pull the thread through all 3 and then chain 3. Make 3 double crochet again into the ring, keeping the last loop onto the hook. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Pull the thread through all 4 and then chain 3 and work your way around. You need to have 8 shells in that ring. When you make a doily, it's very important that you count your work at each round. If you forget or if you haven't got the right number, the rest of the doily will be crooked and might buckle or look terrible. So here I'm making the slip stitch, and then I check to make sure I've got 8 shells before I start the next round. For round 2, chain 5 and make a single crochet into the first loop. Chain 5 again and make a single crochet in the shell. So this is the way you work round. So you go all the way around making loops of 5 and single crochets in the spaces and in the shells. So do this to the end. So here's the end of round 2, and it's very important that you check here that you've got 16 loops. This is a crucial row. If you make this wrong, you'll suffer a couple of rows further. So you need 16 loops here. So for round 3, make a slip stitch into the center of the next loop. I usually make a slip stitch in the chain and then one around the chain loop. Chain 3 and make a shell. So you make 2 double crochet, keeping the last loop on the hook, and then pull the thread through the 3 loops. Chain 4 and then make another shell in the next loop. So you do that by making 3 double crochet, keeping the last loop on the hook, and then pulling the thread through all 4 loops. So go round to the end, making shells in each loop space with 4 chains between. So this is the end of round 3, and what you need to do is chain 4 and make a slip stitch into the first shell you made. So this is what your work's going to look like. So now we've finished round 3 and we can move on to round 4. And round 4 is a relatively easy one. Slip stitch again into the center of the next loop, chain 6 and make a single crochet in the next loop, and work your way around making 6 chains and single crochets in each loop to the end, but don't make the last loop. For the last loop, chain 2, make a treble crochet in the beginning of your round. So that would be where your slip stitch was, where you started the first 6 chain. Now we move on to round 5, chain 6 and make a double crochet in the same loop. Chain 5 and make a single crochet in the next loop. Chain 5 again and make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the next loop. And that's the way you work your way around. So chain 5, single crochet, chain 5 and then a double crochet, chain 3 in the next loop, and you work your way all the way around. So at the end of the round, chain 5 and make a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of the 6th chain right at the beginning of the round. So this is how far we got after round 5, and I'm going to pin it out on my board so you can see what it looks like. It's very handy to have a board, a work board, so that it's made out of layers of foam, and I cover it with a piece of nice Donegal tweed, and that way you can pin out your work and see if there are any inconsistencies or if it's not totally symmetrical. Any doily usually has to be totally symmetrical. So this is what it looks like. This is a picture of the next part of the Cluny Doily. I hope to upload that tomorrow. I hope you find these instructions useful and that they are not too difficult to follow. Please let me know if you have any problems. I'm really enjoying working with this number 30 thread, and I think the results look quite stunning.